Today, Vice President Kamala Harris made a stop in Western New York. She was here to speak about the Inflation Reduction Act during a stop at the University at Buffalo, where she also toured a portion of the North Campus in Amherst. Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Mary Alice Demler.
And hello again, I'm Scott Levin. We will have full team coverage for you this half hour with our Rob Hackford focused on her speech and visit to UB itself. But our Claudine Ewing is also going to be talking about the conversations that the Vice President had with families of victims of the May 14th top shooting.
But let's start by heading out to UB North, where Rob has more on the Vice President's visit. Rob?
Yeah, Scott, Mary Alice, she highlighted a few of the existing programs here at UB that focus on the climate crisis, a portion of the Inflation Reduction Act. That includes the solar strand, the massive solar array actually behind me right now that generates around 3/4 of a megawatt of electricity. Well, on campus today, she also toured UB's Grow Energy Center, which is a ultra energy efficient home or design of a home. The Vice President spoke with students and encouraged them to pursue climate solutions in their studies, but also when they're looking for work. Now, the Inflation Reduction Act, that multifaceted piece of legislation you mentioned, includes $350 billion for climate and energy initiatives. But the name inflation reduction is a bit of a misnomer as well, because along with money for climate concerns, the legislation also is supposed to lower prescription drug costs, cut the national deficit, and raise taxes on big corporations. Meanwhile, actual inflation numbers back yesterday were little changed despite efforts by the Federal Reserve to cool the economy. And while gas prices are down, electricity costs are up. And Vice President said some of the long-term climate initiatives in the IRA and the Inflation Reduction Act could help reduce fossil fuel reliance and provide inflation stability in the energy sector just further on the road.
We know that is not sustainable. And so our administration has invested billions of dollars to boost clean energy production. That means building thousands of new wind turbines and massive solar farms like the one I've seen on this campus.
Well, there were no specific initiatives mentioned for the Western New York or Buffalo area, but of course heading into midterms, this likely won't be the last time that we hear about the Inflation Reduction Act. There have already been a few events like this, but that will be it for the UB campus. Scott, Mary Alice.